Well, good morning and welcome to Rising. So glad that you are tuning in. We have another just stupendous show to deliver today, and we can't wait to discuss all the news. Isn't that right, Brianna?
That's right, Robbie. Big news right up top. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit has ruled that former President Trump is not immune from prosecution in the case charging him with plotting to overturn the 2020 election results. In their decision, the judges wrote, "We conclude that the interest in criminal accountability held by both the public and the executive branch outweighs the potential risks of chilling presidential action and permitting vexatious litigation." Trump is expected to appeal, although analysts say it's unclear whether his team will take it to the next appeals court or all the way to the Supreme Court. Trump responded to the ruling on Truth Social, writing, "A president of the United States must have full immunity in order to properly function and do what has to be done for the good of our country. So bad and so dangerous for our nation. Save presidential immunity."
Meanwhile, after the former president failed to appear on Nevada's GOP primary ballot yesterday, the option for none of these candidates won, beating out Nikki Haley by a whopping 30 points. None of these candidates a very, very appealing option for me. Trump chastised Haley for her bad night in Nevada on Truth Social, quipping, "Watch, she'll soon claim victory." And new today, Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel is apparently preparing to leave her role after beefing with former President Trump. He had wanted McDaniel to cancel the primary for him altogether. McDaniel apparently is going to leave after the South Carolina primary on February 24th. But things are still fluid, sources tell the New York Times. So 3 things to get to there. First of all, look, neither Trump nor other president should have blanket immunity from prosecution for actions taken as president. All MAGA people who are supporting Trump's bid for total immunity here should ask themselves whether they would support this if Joe Biden was the president. They will all say no, so that it should be a very open and shut matter. And frankly, constitutionally, it is an open and shut matter that the president, the office of the president, the executive, has taken, not just Trump, every president has taken illegal actions, some of them with massive negative policy consequences. They should be held more accountable, not less.
Totally agree. No man is above the law. That's one of the founding principles of the United States of America. Founding fathers left Europe because they didn't want any more kings, and it shouldn't be especially controversial that we should not make our president into one. What do you make of the news that nobody won in Nevada? Is this the kind of indictment of the choices that are before the American public on both parties, frankly, because we just discussed earlier this week what low turnout there was in the South Carolina primary with only 4% coming out to turn out ballots. Is this a similar kind of referendum?
So the Nevada situation got really complicated. They had a primary and they're going to have a caucus tomorrow. So Nikki Haley was only competing in the primary, and Donald Trump is only competing in the caucus. So our wonderfully democratic system, you could choose which election you want to do. There's only going to be one candidate in it. The caucus is what counts for delegates. So Trump's getting all those delegates. Nikki Haley, if she had won in this primary, it would have been purely symbolic. It doesn't mean anything. She didn't win. She lost to none of the above. So, there's not really a lesson to draw from this, except that the system has to some degree been rigged in Trump's favor, not to the degree it's been rigged in Joe Biden's favor on the other side, but still there is tremendous institutional heft behind Donald Trump. But also there has not emerged a discernible appetite, some appetite for Nikki Haley in New Hampshire. Other than that, not much. It's just going to be Trump's party, and cry if you want to.
Yeah, it does seem that way, although it is curious to see this kind of backlash against Ronna McDaniel. It does seem from the outside like she has gone out of her way, frankly, to grease the runway for Donald Trump, but that doesn't seem to have healed the acrimony between them there. What do you make of that acrimony and her choice to step down? McDaniel
has been a scapegoat for frustrated conservatives for years now. Everyone has wanted her gone for a long time. I'm frankly surprised she's held on this long. She is someone whom a lot of people blame for what's gone wrong. I don't know that it's fair to blame her, but they do blame her.
What is the basis of that?
Well, the basis of it is that in the time Donald Trump has been on the political scene, so the Republicans won in 2016. Yay for them. And then lost in 2018, in 2020, in 2022. And the question becomes, well, who can we blame for this? And we can't blame Trump. You just can't. So you have to blame McDaniel. That's as complicated as the thinking is.
Yeah.
Now, despite her having done a lot to help Trump maintain and consolidate control over the party, it's not perceived as enough. It's almost a Pence situation where you can go along with him, but unless you're willing to commit 120% to what he wants you to do, you'll end up being denounced just like the rest, and that's what's happened. Yeah,
it will be interesting to see if the only thing that really can, I don't mean this in a overly partisan way, the only thing that really truly can obstruct Trump without ultimately bending the knee will be some kind of legal recourse. There have been some recent big losses for him in the civil cases, and now this, in the context of this in this criminal case, rather unclear, obviously, if the prosecutors are going to be able to successfully make the case that the machinations leading up to January 6th really did constitute an overthrowing of the election results, and whether or not ultimately people will be able to make the case that that is a, quote, insurrection for the purposes of barring him from the ballot. But things are moving forward, and I do wonder if there is going to be any thought within the Republican Party, the way there is now burgeoning considerations happening on the Democratic side of the aisle, of what the backup option really is, especially in light of a new clip that we're going to discuss later today showing another really bad-looking moment for Joe Biden as he struggles to put his words together. Yeah, we're going to get to that in just a minute. One more parting thought on Ronna McDaniel. I just want to remind everyone, so her name is actually Ronna Romney McDaniel. Mm-hmm. She's a member of the Romney family. Trump suggested to her that she drop the Romney from her name when he was so mad at Mitt Romney, and she was willing to do that. You change your name for a man, and he still doesn't want to keep you around. More Rising right after this.